Greetings, folks. AnIolairGhorm here with another World of Warships replay, this time featuring myself in the Tier 7 U.S. Navy light cruiser, the USS Helena. I am divisioned with Jimijaz in the Tier 7 Japanese battleship, the Nagato. We are in a domination match on fault line, and each team brings 3 battleships, 7 cruisers, and 2 destroyers to the match. As far as my ship build, it's the same as the last USS Helena replay on this channel. I take the Propulsion Systems Modification 2 in Slot 4 for better off-the-line acceleration. I find the rudder shift on the Helena as it is pretty good, and we'll have a good example of why I feel that way later in the match. And as far as commander skills, I take Direction Center for better spotting support and better AA, and I take IFHE, which is now becoming nearly ubiquitous for light cruisers that fire HE. As far as highlights for this battle, I have just 2 words: 15 guns. With that, let's get to the gameplay. So I'm going to move east here with our allied Fubuki to the Charlie Cap. I'm deliberately using the island here to mask my approach to the cap for a couple of reasons. One is I don't want to get caught out by surprise from an opposing battleship and then have half or more of my health taken in a single salvo. And secondly, I want to be close enough to support our Fubuki so that if there is an opposing ship, and we know there is since the Charlie Cap is being contested, I can provide close support to the Fubuki. Now our Fubuki here has kind of tucked himself in this corner, and he's just going to stop here. So he's not really providing any spotting support. And we know that there is an opposing ship here, so I put up my plane to detect ships that may be approaching the Charlie Cap. But right now all we can see is an Omaha, which is on the northeast side of Bravo, and we don't see anything else. We do see a smoke screen now from the opposing destroyer that is in Charlie, but we don't see anything else. So at this point, I'm reasonably confident there's no other opposing ship that has come to the Charlie Cap, and they've kind of left this their destroyer out to hang with no support. And so I'm just going to move forward and use my hydroacoustic search to detect the opposing destroyer in his smoke and put some fire on him. Now we are going to get a glimpse of an opposing Dallas here in just a moment by the planes. In fact, there he is. And so he's not too much of a threat to me as it is. I'm more concerned about the destroyer. And now I see the Farragut. So I'm going to open up. In the first salvo, I take out nearly half his health and take out his engine. And with this next salvo, I'm going to finish off the destroyer. Now, here's an example of why I think the rudder shift on the Helena as it is, without taking any steering gears modification, is pretty good. I'm going to be able to thread these torpedoes. The widespread's pretty easy. The narrow one's a little more challenging, but nonetheless, I don't take any torpedoes. I am going to load AP here because the opposing Dallas, which is coming around the island, is giving me more or less full broadside. Get a salvo off at the waterline, and we are going to get 3 citadels on him and take out his engine as well. Now, this next AP salvo is not going to be nearly as strong, so I'm going to switch to HE. And now we have secured the Charlie Cap. And for some reason, the Dallas is not use damage control to repair his engine. I'm not sure why. He sets me on fire with his first salvo, and then sets a second fire with his second salvo. I had deliberately held my damage control on the first fire in the event that he set me on fire again, but I probably let this burn a little too long and took too much damage. But we're able to get the Dallas down. And now we're looking at a very low health for Otaka. Finally do put the fire out. We do see a low health for Otaka here on the west side of Charlie. You can see that the opposing team has largely lemminged to Alpha. They've been wearing down our ships on the Alpha side. In fact, they just torpedoed our Scharnhorst, which was in Bravo. And he's going to flood. In fact, there he goes. He just flooded out, and we take down the Furataka. Now, and somebody's pinging on the map because literally half of our team went to Charlie, and the rest of the team, the opposing team, is now at Alpha. So I'm going to speed up the replay here. because it's going to take a couple of minutes for us to get back into a position where I can start putting some fire on other ships. So with that, I give you a little interlude music. Okay, so now that we've had our little pleasure cruise coming over to the Bravo cap, I'm going to point out that the opposing team has successfully finished off our flank at Alpha. They have now secured the Alpha cap from us, and they have also evened up the ship count. So while we technically hold a point lead, it's really anybody's game at this point. Now, while the battleships that are on the west side of Bravo, the opposing battleships that is, are within my range, I'm going to hold my fire here until I know that I can get into some cover in case they decide that my 15 guns are getting too annoying. So now I'm going to open up on the opposing battleships, since one, they are the only ships that I can fire on at this point. But since we've taken out both of the opposing destroyers, right now my immediate concern is that we could end up losing a lot of our ships that are in Bravo to these battleships in relatively short order. In fact, I'm surprised that our opposing Nuremberg is still alive. I think he's quite wounded. Yeah, you can see him right there in the middle of the screen. So I'm putting some sustained fire on this Colorado. He is also coming under torpedo attack. In fact, here comes another set of torpedoes that I do think finish him off. And I'm going to turn my attention here to the other Colorado that is moving toward Bravo. In fact, yes, there goes the Colorado, and we've lost another one of our ships as well. So again, the ship counts are even. We have now successfully secured Bravo. Now I'm going to put fire on this very slow-moving Colorado that is starting to move closer to Bravo. The other battleship that will be coming into range here for me will be the Jimijaz. He hasn't quite gotten there yet, so I'm going to focus on this Colorado for the time being. So this is again one of the strengths of the Helena. Her kiting angles are pretty good, and with her decent rudder shift, she's able to maneuver pretty well. You can in fact see that I've put myself in a manner that I'm actually backing up and getting closer to these ships, but now I'm going to move forward again because I'm a little concerned that at some point the battleships are going to start looking at me. Our Fubuki gets a terrific hit on the other Colorado, so now I'm going to turn my attention to the Jimijaz. Jimijaz is a much faster battleship than the Colorado, almost 50% faster. And so I have to give a little bit more lead to hit him reliably. And he's also quite a bit more maneuverable, I believe. So so we are now down on ships. The opposing team, even though we do hold 2 caps, and we still do hold the lead, the opposing team's done a pretty good job focusing down ships that have been in Bravo. And so now we are behind in ships, and our allied Alba here is right out in the open. He's being focused by at least 2 of the opposing ships, the Jimijaz and I believe the Galissonier, or maybe it's the Omaha as well. So he's under a lot of pressure right now, trying to get himself out of harm's way, but he's going to get taken out here fairly soon. Yeah, nobody at this point has targeted me. That will change here shortly. Been able to leverage this kiting posture pretty successfly. The Jimijaz now has moved into Bravo, so we've stopped gaining points from that cap. After this next HE salvo, I'm going to switch to AP because the Jimijaz is now giving me full broadside, and German battleships, their superstructures are pretty easy to pen with HE. So this HE, I'm sorry, with AP. The AP salvo here, I think I get almost 4K on this salvo. and that was not as well placed as it could be. And this next salvo is going to finish off the Jimijaz now for the third kill. So I'm going to stick with AP here because we have an opposing Omaha coming in, and the Omaha has 10 millimeter plating on its bow and stern, which allows 152 millimeters to overpen it, which means that a light cruiser with 150 millimeters or larger caliber can citadel an Omaha through the bow and through the stern pretty reliably. There is the Confederate achievement, so doing okay here, over 90,000 in damage. The Omaha is going to continue to show me a very narrow profile, but I'm going to continue to fire AP as I have been getting some bounces, but I also have been getting some decent pens as well. He's been doing a pretty good job trying to maneuver to avoid some of the shots, and there's an example of a citadel with him being bow on to me. So I don't think it's this next salvo. I think it's the salvo off this last salvo. I'm going to get another citadel hit on him and finish him off for the match. So we've now evened up the ship count again. We've successfully defended Bravo. I have a broadside Galissoniere that is approaching. I'm going to fire AP on him because French cruisers up through tier 9, their citadel is quite exposed directly underneath the second gun. There's the high caliber achievement, and so I think with this salvo I finish him off with a triple citadel. Yeah. So, and there's Kraken unleashed. So 5 ships down. The ARP Haragumo. So appreciate the compliments from our team for recognizing the Kraken unleashed. The opposing Haragumo here is a little too far for me to hit reliably. I think I'm going to try one more salvo. I'm also using AP here, which has worse ballistics at range than the HE, so I may be having problems hitting him reliably due to that as well, but he's going to get out of my range here in a moment. The opposing York will be my next target. The opposing York here is within my range, and in fact he's actually backing up. And I think it's going to take me a couple of salvos and I'll get him down as well. He's firing AP on me, which is... okay, I do finish off the York. He's firing AP at me, which is... and a York is difficult to hit ships at range with because the ballistics get really wonky outside of 8 to 10 kilometers. I cannot hit the Haragumo. He's simply too far for me, so I'm going to turn around here. But one of our allied ships is going to finish him off here in a moment to end the match. So very successful match, certainly for me. And we'll see the results here in a moment once the Haragumo is taken down. And there he goes. So, like I said, a very good match for me. Earned Kraken Unleashed, High Caliber, Confederate, I get First Blood. Thanks to everybody for recognition during the battle of the good match. Yeah, the Helena is a pretty strong ship for Tier 7, and she does very well. So I hope you enjoyed the replay and the commentary. Please do leave your comments below, and as always, we hope to see you out there, and I wish you happy sailing.